For
is
existing
a
students. Okay, yes.
For a pre-student, while you're doing the processes of admission, and you actually think you want to change the course, you can. You simply go to JAMB office, buy a change of course form. But the things you must consider is the JAMB subjects you wrote when you wrote JAMB must rhyme with the JAMB subjects of the course you want to go into. And you also bear in mind the cutoff point that course is expected that you have. That year, the cutoff was 180. It's so good that this year, in quote, the cutoff is 140. That low. But that we have a 140 cutoff point does not mean that is the program cutoff. And so the course you want to change to, you must consider, in case the program cutoff is 259 and you scored 190, even though you do a change of course, you can't score. Thank you, sir.
Well, sir, just to add that the question about admissions for 2021, even though the person wrote 2021, he said actually for 2022. University of Uyo is about there now. We are not yet there. By the time the admission processes are open, of course, people will know. Just to also add that this thing called change of form, change of course, there's something called intra-faculty change of course and an inter-faculty change of course. There's also an inter-university change of course. That is too technical, so that is why we are here. After now, you see us. Over to you, sir.
Here is another question. You talked about those who wish to change course. Are you people changing course? Because of interest, what about those who wish to change on the ground of poor performance? For instance, a change from medicine to a single honors.
Well, I know Ma will take that, but are you wishing to change or you're advised to change? Ma, what's here?
Well, permit me to start with the issue of the person who said he or she took JAMB 2022. Whoever took JAMB to come into University of Uyo 2022 should have gone to do the post-UTME registration for University of Uyo. The screening exercise, where you go and say, okay, University of Uyo, I want to come into this university. If you have not done that, you are getting late, because that portal has been opened for more than a month now. And I don't know. Well, back to that person who wants to change course for reason being poor performance. Well, we consider a student to have performed badly when that student has a CGPA of under 1 point. When our pass mark the last few years used to be 45%, then that 1.5. If your CGPA, that's cumulative grade point average, is less than 1, you will be advised officially by the university to withdraw. That's only when you can go scouting for some other course. And the process is simple. You'll pick up a form, and I'm sure your current program and department, head of department, will gladly let you go. But I hope where you are going to, they will also with open arms receive you. Because if the head of department of the receiving end is not willing to accept you, he or she may not sign that form. Or where that form is signed, then there is the possibility of being accepted. From there, you'll take the form to, I think, Director of Academic Affairs. From the Office of Director of Academic Affairs, the Senate unit will No, that moves to Committee of Deans.
Committee of Deans.
From Committee of Deans, it gets to the Senate, and it's only after you have been granted approval by the Senate of the university. That's only when you can confidently tell yourself you have been permitted to move from one program to the other.
Thank you, Ma. That boils down to what Ma, the DVC, said. You have to be very serious. Please note, the other side of that thing that they have not been told. To the faculty, then you go to the other faculty and department to take you. They need departmental boards, they need faculty boards, and the committee of this does not meet every week. Very meets. The time Senate meets to approve the thing, you've already lost one semester or two. And the next thing is that if it is a case of inter-faculty, you may have been in year 4. By the time they send you to another faculty, the likelihood of starting with year 1 or 2 is there. So I like to say, don't ever begin to think of wanting to change because you've been advised to withdraw. Rather, put up your very best. No crime. If you graduate first and go and read another thing if you so want to be a perpetual student. But please consider your academics seriously. Thank you. Yes, ma.
Thank you so much.
DVC.
Please, sir, let me give some hope. I agree with Professor Brown. But in case or perchance you are a student or you're a parent or sibling of a student who is what we call probation, that is, that stage you're asked to withdraw. You calls it probation. And that is your CGPA is below 1. If you are at that stage, we always say, don't die in silence. Seek for help. And then, the good thing from what Prof has said that probation is for 2 years. They will give you the first year probation to see if you can come out, you can improve your studies and come out of probation. And what he has said helps a lot. If you come out of probation, you continue. If you cannot come out of probation, please don't die. Standing here, I have suffered it. My biological nephew is out of school today because he died in silence. He had probation for 2 years and lied to the parents that he was on IT. And as at that time I was head of department, I could have helped him shop into another program. And with that way he would continue. So if for any reason you have a student who is on probation and cannot come out, please seek for help so that you can be led into a program you can improve and still graduate. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Please, what does UNIO intend to do about the boys or touts at the first gate harassing students collecting their properties? Then 2, what does he entail to read medicine? If Professor Basiata will help us on that.
Maybe we'll start with what it entails to read medicine.
What does he entail to read medicine?
Thank you. Good morning. Well, I think the Deputy Vice Chancellor, no, it's okay. Deputy Vice Chancellor had given a little summary when she spoke. Basically, you probably put in for your JAM, and then you have to have good SSC results. To study medicine, JAM requires that you take physics, chemistry, biology, compulsory subjects, and of course, English. And then you must have credits in maths, English, physics, chemistry, biology. Depending on the requirements of the university you want to study, each university has their requirements. But basically, you must pass JAM, and then you must have credits in 5 subjects, including physics, chemistry, biology, maths, and English. But there's a caveat. Medicine is very competitive anywhere in the world. To get into the university, you must score very highly in JAM. Usually, the cutoffs are very high. So you must actually study very hard to meet up the required cutoffs before you study medicine. So, in summary, You must pass JAMB very well. The subjects are physics, chemistry, biology, English, and then you must also get the required credits in the required subjects. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Please, what does UNIO intend to do about the touts at the first gate, collecting properties from students? Touts. There are some touts.
At the first gate, there are some touts around that
Hooligans there.
They stop the peace of the police by way of
students, collect
criminalities.
Collect phones, collect bags. Maybe this is strange.
Okay. Okay.
You can summarize.
Okay,
I'll allow you to. The news has been in town, positively and negatively, that the UNIO had locked the first gate. And it's true. We assume it to be a temporary lockage. There were many reasons for locking that first gate. And what you have said was one of those reasons. The crowd, the market in that place, the kidnappings in that place, the abductions, and then the stealing. That was, apart from other issues, was part of why that first gate was. So that we know anybody going through the main gate is coming in for business and proper business. So if you linger around first gate, well, either you want to join a vehicle to another place or you want to buy something. As for those touts, they are no longer part of the university system. And if anybody is robbed, they should be careful. But PAP said, we are in a society that even in broad daylight, many things are happening. But you see, that effort to lock that first gate was to stem the tide of those robberies. And truly, we've achieved a lot for that, even though people are suffering walking in there. But that has been positively achieved.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Brown, Professor Brown.
Thank you, ma. Just to note, beyond the four walls of the university is over to Akwa Ibom State Government. And what the university has done over the years, I'm not aware, is to write to the appropriate quarters to seek for help. The help may come today in the morning. By the evening, the place relapses into its reality. So it then calls for us it calls on us to be sensitive to what happens there. Like Ma said, at what time? Why should you, as vulnerable as you would be, find yourself there carelessly around 7:30 p.m.? In fact, even in broad daylight, the negative things are happening. Okay, I'm in just like this. My phone, by this time, we are permitted us to deal with phones. My phone is here now. And I go there and stand there and begin to call on somebody there, not attending to this. It's as good as knowing that the next 30 seconds, if I check the phone, I won't get it. So you also have to be sensitive. Finally, I end from where I started. Within the University of Uyo, UNIO can take responsibility. But beyond Ikpa Road is, in fact, fairly should be, by history, it should be a federal road. Ikpa Road. So it's not UNIO again. But we always do our best. The next thing is to maybe speak with Dean of Students. Let's see how we can enhance community policing where students themselves, Emmanuel and the rest, can also be part of it. They say security is everybody's business, so don't want management to take responsibility only by itself. Let all of us take responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Our time is up, and we still have 5 questions there. I
can throw all the 5, I suggest.
Let me just quickly, sir, the School of Continuing Education permission to add few. Okay, sir. Is School of Education not part of university? The answer there is yes. Because it is very difficult to get results since we finish our exams. I think I should mention the department here. Department of Guidance and Counseling, University of Uyo, 2015 to 2019-20 session. I know that results are being released. In fact, the Vice Chancellor asked for result update, but some few weeks ago. And that update will have been submitted by all faculties. And if yours is not yet there, be sure that should have been done by now. So efforts are being made to get all outstanding results out. I also want to add that the business committee of Senate, the chairman wrote the various faculties concerned and the various exam officers, the pending results which were released about 2 weeks ago, that all these results must be in. And I'm sure that as far as our faculty is concerned, all those exam officers have worked assiduously hard to get these results in. So our School of Education is not an exception. I'm sure the director must be working on it.
But essentially, everyone is working hard there now. The truth is, our colleagues are under intense pressure. First, new semester has started. We are raising course outlines, attending classes. Second, NUC came with CC mass. There's serious pressure. And as we speak, but the Vice Chancellor has not relented. He has made some circulars that have pointed at some people working very hard. Mine is to give you a message of hope that in no distant time those results will be released. But let me take a personal responsibility. If there's anyone here that is experiencing that kind of thing, come to me, let's talk. I don't mind trying to reach out to those heads of department to see the very best thing we can do. Bear with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is it bad to join satellite program if you did not have an access to, I can't read this now. If you did not have access to writing, it's not legible enough.
To campus, and what is the
Disadvantage.
what are the disadvantages?
Well, UNIO does not operate satellite campus.
Okay. A satellite program. In fact, NUC had banned satellite programs some years ago, so we cannot run against that. But I know that people pick online degrees now. Nobody should stop you. That one is academics beyond borders, as it were. But forget about satellite arrangement. Now, the only possible satellite arrangement UNIO has is the IGB. It's a back program. School of Basic Studies. Yes, School of Basic Studies. You take a certain IGMB exam, and then you can come in and be part of the university. But satellite programs, per se, had been banned by the NUC long ago.
Okay. If one has successfully done and be graduated without owing the school, and yet no evidence, what do we do?
You cannot graduate if you are indebted to the school.
Yeah.
If you are owing the school finances, or by way of school fees, or you are owing courses, there is no way you can graduate. So that question, I think, is redundant.
Maybe the word I'll use not graduated, because you are not graduated yet. If you are owing.
So what it follows is, if you are owing the university, if it is fees, likely if it is continuing education, some laxities happen there. So you go and pay before you get it.
And postgraduate schools.
And postgraduate, beautiful. But if it is about owing, since you are in the date, if some condonation have been made to those gaps, go back, register, pass those courses before you graduate. Don't think of passing the courses without graduation. I mean, we're passing the courses without taking them and passing. Neither should you think of graduating without passing those courses. When Ma was speaking, she said, if you've passed every course but failed only one, what it means is that you have taken all, perhaps you have exhausted your 6th year, and there is evidence that you registered for that course, you took that course, but you failed it. The Senate had given a waiver that you can graduate with one failed course. That is just that.
A situation whereby a lecturer does not speak out while teaching and is less concerned about it. What should be done in such a situation?
Go and sit in front of the class.
Simple.
So that you hear him.
What constitutes...
Anyway, but sir, I would also think mass position is apt. Strive to sit in front. On the other hand, you have students association. That's what I told some. By the grace of God, my voice is a crusade voice. I can stand here and shout. But there are people who naturally, their voice ranges are very low. So what it means is, you can talk to your students association. If you are in sociology, we call them SASA, Nigerian Sociological and Anthropological Students Association. Let them buy public address system. There is no crime that says you shouldn't buy. Your money, the dues you pay shouldn't just be to go and be doing what do you call this thing? You go to Ibano, picnic. You go to, what is this? Beach. And then you do party at night. You can also use your dues for something positive. That's my school of thoughts.
As a matter of fact, some faculties and buildings have this microphone
Yes. Public address system.
For big lecture theaters,
Beautiful.
they take such there. We have in our faculty.
Yes.
And for such large classes, lecturers are encouraged to use
In
microphone.
fact, I suggest that you discuss at the Committee of Deans that every major place like that, there should be a provision like that. Approved? Approved.
What constitutes exam malpractices? Could you please shed some light on the different penalties? That is the last question for now. We are not entertaining any other.
Well, maybe before Matt speaks, just to say that we no longer call it exam malpractices.
Misconduct.
We now call it misconduct because malpractice is a practice, and practice means you do that very regularly. And so if you are caught just once, it may not have been a case of malpractice. But if you are caught once, it's a misconduct, and then the punishment will go. Very simply, one, there are some punishment that you miss 2 semesters, there are some punishment that you repeat a course, there are punishment that you are expelled from the university, particularly if you did what we call impersonation. You knew that Brown knows that course. You came and settled Brown to go and take the course for you. If you are napped, my brother, my sister, appearing before that panel, the sentence on 100% note is that you'll be expelled from the university. But if you were caught with extraneous materials, like what bad students call brain support, what they do is to attach the brain support to what was not supported, and then you appear before the panel. If you had filled the form and signed that you were caught doing that, then it's mitigated, and you lose 2 semesters. But if you refuse to sign, and the panel proves beyond every doubt that you actually cheated in that exam hall, then another set of punishment will be added to the original 2 semesters, another 2 semesters. So you will do 4 semesters behind the gate. It is when you come back, you start from where you stopped. And then you can then know that if you were to graduate in 2024, your prayer should be that you don't miss 2026. Are you following? And to even be bad, strikes and so on have made it such that you would continue from year 2 to final year, only for the result of the panel to come in the final year. I'm sad to tell you, but truly so, that you go back to year 2.
So well, the solution to that is that the university have this provision for student handbook. And that student handbook is supposed to be read, carefully studied like a Bible, so that students get acquainted with what is there. And year in, year out, as new students come in, there's university orientation on university basis. There's also faculty orientation, and the various departments also do that. So there's need for you, if you're a student, to be familiar with those guiding exams so that you don't fall into such traps. I think.
Now, maybe before you round off, even beyond being familiar with the rules, you come to this church, you are being taught how to live right. I tell you, it's very bad to cheat. In fact, their spirit will bear you witness that you are cheating. So don't want to cheat, only to, please, I've told you, if you run into trouble, come. But I'm fair enough now to tell you, if it's that kind of trouble, you may not see me. So please, what we then mean is, let nobody identified with us here be identified with cheating in examinations. It is very bad. Our pastor, yes, I'm sorry you are here, but God has placed you in a way that if we mention your name, we have passage. So now, if people from here begin to stain that platform, then the future will be dented. I appeared before a panel, and one boy who was a came to say, "Sir, I know you. Sir, you conduct choir, you are the choir leader in our church," and so on. I said, "Come here. It cannot be true." Further proofs led to the fact that a guy, having known that I was a key member of that committee, searched for me to see me in church. And because of busy schedule, from here, Sunday school, from there I left. He didn't see me. So he got to know that I conducted there. And so to him, he's a member of church and so on. So God will help us, sir.
Thank you so much. With this, we have come to the close of this part of the program for today. on behalf of the local church, we want to thank the DVC administration, Professor Noide Misoro, for finding time to be here out of our busy schedules. Thank you so much, Ma, for all you have done. I'd like to invite the pastor. You have something to say? Who have been?
Please come. I also like the other deans who haven't said anything to say something. Let's receive Professor Basetai. Nobody asked a question for medical students. They did. Oh, you spoke?
He spoke, sir.
Okay. What of the other dean? Thank you. Bye, thank you. The DVC had asked me to tell you that you need to get, if you have financial situations. It's good to see you now. I hear you're now in the university. We haven't seen you for 2 weeks. Good to see you. And you want to suspend your studies. Don't just go away. You need to write an application and suspend it. If you leave without that application, what you have done is that you have withdrawn voluntarily. You may not be a lawyer, so you don't know the difference. When they talk of malpractice and misconduct, it sounds like talking. Understand that you cannot decide not to go to school this semester. If you decide not to go to school this semester, then you go and write your head of department, notify them, and obtain permission to be away. If you decide to go back to Okorete town and fish for 3 months, and then come back, then go and sell your fish in Ibno, and 6 months, you now come, you appear and see Professor Brown in the panel, he may not recognize you again. Are you with me? So you must, you should be able to learn how those things. Then those who are also on my own side as pastors, in this church, if you have outstanding courses and you are not making enough effort, we will take you down from wherever you are volunteering, except we are not aware. We will stand you down so that you don't become a bad example, particularly so if you are already being noticed in the congregation. It simply means that you should be above average. Are you following me? The other thing that the DVC talked about is that you must start on time. This morning, the DVC came before almost all of us. She came maybe before 20 to 9. And I met somebody for whose sake we are holding this meeting. I don't even think he's here. I've not seen him. And I asked him, won't you be? He said he will be in. So what? Are you dressed? No, he said he's going to go back and come. And I asked him, what is the time now? He said he doesn't live far. You see, there is no right way of doing the wrong thing. You can't do the wrong thing once. It's like, you know, when you reverse at the roundabout and they are talking to you and you are shouting at the people, come on, get away from there. If you miss your branch, you go round again. You don't reverse on a motorway. You're already doing the wrong thing and they can't correct you. So, you need to understand, you need to prioritize and say, hey, this school, you must first graduate before you start teaching others. You can't have outstanding. I've had people who dropped out of school and they are teaching in another school. Does it make sense to you? Face your own and make sure you graduate and then you can go ahead to do the other. That's why we held this session. So that you won't think we are attacking you. In fact, at some point, even Professor Brown felt we were too hard until we handed over the students to him. And then he was the one now doing. You can't find somebody. And I asked them, I said, we pay your school fees. Do you think it is wrong for me to ask for your result? Do you think it's so? I don't need your result for anything you do in this church. So if I'm helping you to graduate, I'm thinking of your future. So you can, something else could come and you decide to move on. But you see, there are some people here who are neither going to school, but you are telling people you are a student. You are telling them when they ask you, yesterday after the evening session, I met one of us, and I asked him, were you in church today? He said, yes. What time did you come? Past 6. So I asked him, which group did you attend? Do you like to hear his answer? He said, it's in the Bezikbo group. Did we have any group like that? So I said to him, I thought you have started telling the truth. You mean you are still lying? Because the last time I asked him this kind of question, I came back and I saw him and I said, were you in the service? He said, yes. So I said, at what point did you come? He said, of course I started, I taught my own session, then I went out to dedicate one pastor's child, then I came back to close the service. So when I finished and left, he too left. And so when I asked him, how did the service close? He said, as usual. And I asked him, who closed the service? And then before this, so I asked him, how does the service usually close? And then the guest who was with me in the car had a good laugh and said, listen, some of you, we have decided to be born again. If not, we will sell you people. You are not even intelligent enough to lie. We don't need to talk to another person to clear your lie. So I think that if you see what I go through sometimes, I pity myself. Because we can tell that in the next 3-4 years, you're not going to make meaningful progress. And if I didn't go to school, you probably would deceive me. One other secondary school student man, they say he came to see me that he was driven away from school, that he didn't have textbook. So I said to him, you can tell that to the fisherman in Okorete town. Is there anybody here who was driven for not having textbook? I said to him, look for a better life. He said, no, that is true, that the school wants to see me. Because I'm his father, so I went to the school. And they were shocked. Pastor, you came and said, yes, this is my son. This boy may be a criminal to you, but I'm his father. Then they said the teacher is not around. So we waited. And when the man came, you came today? They said the boy even come to school that day. That it was the day before that he said, he is the one who said he wants to come and collect money and buy a book. So, for those of you who are parents that will ask you to come, hear what the DVC said. Be interested in the result of your words. I have met with people and I put their results before them and they are shocked. Oh, we have the capacity to get that done. You can't be a parent, your word is going to school, like she said. They may not even be registered. For those who are able to get to open up, we were able to save 1 or 2 years. Some of them lost 3 years because you kept asking, what is the matter? Have I told you the students, the medical student who took exam for somebody? How many of you have heard that story? He said, brother, when I something wrong, and he started shouting at me. I was the exam officer. Started shouting at me. Then, after that exam started, the VC called. Security people came. Head of department came. And they said, oh, Kafia, you are exam officer. You should do it. I said, no, I do nothing except to bring police or security. Because some crooks want to put you in trouble and walk away. So once the security people came and the boy was apprehended, he was eventually dismissed about 2-3 years down the road because it takes time. But you see, now he has gone back, taken jam, and has finally become a doctor again. He came the other day asking me for money so that he can go and register. I said to him, you should be apologizing to me. You are coming to collect money. I pity myself sometimes. Let me thank all the professors who are here. Let's celebrate them. It's also very interesting how time flies. Dr. Harry is now head of department. Dr. Akpan is now, for me, it's like yesterday they started. Let's celebrate all our teachers who are here. All right, so I think we may let them those of them who are professors and senior lecturers, they can go. And we can now do our other session for people like me who need to learn how to produce some other things. These people will not be involved, but this is going to be our teacher. The other facilitator, so we are going to have only one group, or you are going to have, okay, who is going to division us? Okay, clap for our MC. Are you a professor too? Since all these people are professors, you are professor where?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the session. Thank you very much, Ma. Ma, as you were speaking, some of the people sitting beside me were saying, she looks very strict. But as you went ahead, they say, oh, she's so motherly. You know, so you have this mix of someone that is approachable as well as someone who is firm. So we really appreciate you. Thank you very much, Ma. All right, so we're going to break out into different groups depending on what our interests are. So we have the first group being the people who want to learn how to make tie and dye. So we have the Domo Bongses here, and we also have Mr. Baya here is going to be in that group too. And I like what you're wearing, sir. Please, can you stand so they can see you? So in case you did not know what tie and dye was, that's an example with what he's wearing. So we are going to learn practically how to make a tie and dye fabric, whether you want to wear it or you want to sell. So for people who want to do that, that class will be outside. So because of the materials they'll be working with, so that we don't stain the floors or the chairs. So they're going to be outside for that class. We also have a class that's going to be teaching people on food sufficiency. So if you want to learn to farm, I recently discovered that you can actually plant yam in a sack. So you don't need a big farm. You can plant yam in a sack. You know, my mom grows a whole lot of flowers, and I remember my grandmother would always complain, "It's a can photo flower, me you know, so my grandmother always thought that we should rather plant food crops instead of flowers. But now you can have all. You can plant on your walls, you know, where you plant nice flowers. You can actually plant food crops. So if you want to learn how to do farming in today's 21st century, you can join the class on food sufficiency. It will be taken by Professor Folarin Alonge. He's going to be teaching us intercontinental ways of doing agro-business, not just farming, sir. No, not just farming, just agro, everything about agro-business. There's going to be a lot of exchange there. We also have a class for those who want to know. Do you know that right now in Uyo, we have a lot of international bodies offering grants and fundings for small and medium-scale enterprises. So you have people saying, I have this great business idea, I don't have money. So going online is not just to see the latest fashion and to learn the latest song. You can actually go online, apply for international grants and fellowships, and have exposures online, you know, internationally. So we have Mrs. Ngozi Etuk, who has been a beneficiary of several. As a matter of fact, she complained to us that she feels lonely in some of those platforms because she doesn't see people from Akwa Ibom. After today's class, Mrs. Ngozi Etuk and the rest of us will have a lot of international grants and funding opportunities. And then the fourth class is on those who want to go into the business of food. So you can make nice meat pies, you can make nice cakes, but do you understand how to create a business out of food, out of confectionaries? It's one thing to be able to cook nice ekpankoko, it's another to be able to make a business of that skill. So we have people here in church who are very good at that. We're going to have Mrs. Blessing Mfon and Tina Wills handle that group. So I've talked about 4 groups. You want to learn about funding, Mrs. Ngozi Etuk, please stand so they can see. You want to access grants, fellowships, networking opportunities to grow your business beyond the level it is now. That's Mrs. Ngozi Etuk. And then Mrs. Ngozi Etuk will hold that class up on the gallery. So if you just go up that staircase, she'll be seated there, up on the gallery.
Who else?
And then we have the food business people. Mrs. Blessing, please stand. She'll be joined.
Okay, so where are those people going?
So please go under the gallery, under that Niger flag, at the back there.
Will they be cooking?
No, sir. No practicals.
So those who want to plant on the wall, they should go to that new wall outside there. Or they will sit here.
Yes, I think they can.
They can stay here. All right, the tie and dye. Let's go outside.
Yes.
Okay. So we have an hour, and we will close from the different groups because we'll move the word session that we were to do after this to add to the evening. Is that all right? So when we finish, we can go from there. Also go with your offering for this morning. Let me give you a discount. And then add it to the... All right, so let's go to those different groups. Thank you. This one that is going to be taken by Professor, I was wondering, how can they plant on the wall? Tie and dye. Where is that, Professor? So we're going out through that door. Yes, please, just go straight through the back door. We meet outside there. Make sure you are in one group. Agric business, come to the front here. I can see forestry people.